It's Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore.
And Marie from Marie's Scrappy Creations.
We decided to get together and have a little bit of a sew date. We're both kind of wondering how much sewing will actually get done, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Marie, I have been dying to ask you, what are you working on? What projects
Well,
are you?
I have been into tote bags because it's a small quilt.
Yes.
It's a very satisfying project, and I could make a bag every day if I had the time to make one every day. So I can show you kind of the style I've been making.
Yes.
I didn't even think to bring up the one that's downstairs. This was a commissioned bag after I showed one last week. This is for a nurse who's retired. So this one shows her at the beginning of her nursing career. This represents her.
I love that fabric. Oh, my goodness.
And this represents her at retirement. And I put in a pocket. I call it an inset pocket. I really don't know if that's the correct terminology or not.
Very
And
nice.
Quilted straps, zipper top, and it has a 2-pocket for phone and keys and things like that.
Oh, wow.
And a little matching zippered bag.
What fabric line is that, or is it just
that's Lorelei Harris? She's very whimsical fabric, and I just started spotting her stuff. I'm slow on this sort of stuff, but about a year ago, and so I started getting a few pieces, and I just love her stuff. I love her stuff. She's got some of middle-aged women or women of a certain age in bathing suits, and it's all very whimsical. They've got like purple bathing suits and bulgy hips or whatever. It's cute, flip-flops, and it's adorable fabric.
I think I had some of her stuff a while ago, and it was Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and
that sounds right.
It was all these women, and they all had their like margarita glasses and their,
yeah, that sounds right.
It was like, yeah, her stuff is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have some that's sewing related, and all of her people have, like, for a headband, it's a measuring tape or something like that, and it's very fun sewing fabric. And then Adam just sent me a screenshot yesterday that he's sending me some Tula pink fabric to make another Franken bag kind of. That's what I call them, a Franken bag, especially when I use my scraps. But yeah,
those bags are so much fun to make. I when I watch your channel, and I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness.
Well, I've done 2 bag tutorials, but now now that they've seen the zipper top, I have some that want me to do the tutorial to make the zipper top, which basically I just take the zipper that I use on these and put it onto the tote bag. But
yeah, but that makes a cute little matching makeup bag for your
purse. It does. You could throw anything into there, your medicine, your makeup, whatever you want to.
Well, if you're traveling in medicine, that would be good, because I have lost my I'm not going to name names as to which airlines, but I lost my suitcase on an airline, and my medicine was in the suitcase, not my
not your carry-on.
They found it, they brought it to me, and I actually hugged the guy.
I bet.
He was like, okay, normally I get yelled at, but that's okay.
He had never met you before.
He had never met. I was so happy he brought my suitcase. Oh my God, he brought it to me.
I bet.
I was just thrilled, and he was kind of scared. He left very quickly. He left backwards. He was walking backwards away from me.
He's going to keep his eye on you, Brenda. So, Brenda, what have you been working on? What's new in your sewing?
You know how I did that nosegay playlist, and we did a nosegay quilt, and I decided I was going to combine hand sewing and machine sewing on this quilt to tell people how to do this, because not everything has to be 100% handmade or 100% sewing machine made.
True.
And sometimes it's very soothing for me, at least, to sit at night with a heating pad around my neck and shoulders and down my back and
hand stitch.
So I finished my nosegay.
It is gorgeous.
It's going to be queen size. And the only thing I've got left now, you see these little sawtooth screws? Those are the cornerstones of sashes. and I just have to put the outer border on. Now I do have the fabric and all this, and I just have to sit one day when my brain's doing really good and do some quilt math, because nobody likes quilt math before coffee, no.
Yeah.
And do some quilt math and get the outer border done so I can finish my star points on my sawtooth, right? So yeah,
that really is a beautiful cornerstone with that quilt. That blue just pops.
I know, and it does pull it together and gives it a beautiful secondary pattern, right?
It really does, because it makes my eye draw to all the blues in all the blocks, and I like that.
So, and one of the things too with this was a 4 at a time method of doing a nosegay, and that has not been done before. So people normally only do the little nosegay, and then it's a 5-inch square.
Sure.
And then they try and put them all together somehow. And normally like this, they're stamped like because there's a lot of points that come here, but when you do it this way and you do 4 at a time, this is absolutely flat in the middle. Because I had done one where I did the individual blocks and then I pointed the cones together, and I actually had to take a hammer to the center.
Yeah, I have heard of people doing that. Yeah, not fun.
And no, I could. By the time I got done that little quilt, I couldn't lift my arm up.
Yeah,
painful, right? So,
I understand. Wow, but it is a gorgeous, eye-catching quilt, though. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping my grandkids. I'm going to hand quilt it, right? So I'm hoping one of my grandkids is going to get it. Anything I'm doing now by hand, getting my grandchildren are going to get.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've only got 3 of them, and I'm not going to have any more of them. So I know. Okay, so make 3. What do they call them? Hope chests.
Yeah.
Hope chests, where you hope that at some point they're going to get married and have kids of their own. They're going to have all these little quilts in there. So my husband has to.
That's the idea.
Yes, and he's like, me. Me. And we've been playing with all sorts of fun blocks doing that. Playing with traditional blocks. The series I've been doing is just, we've been having a hoot with that.
A lot of interesting blocks. And I love the Free Pattern Friday, because that will pop up on my feed. Free Pattern Friday. It reminds me what day of the week it is too, Brenda. You keep me in check.
Well, I'm always surprised when, like I came up with that idea. My husband was sitting there. He's like, but babe, the patterns you give away the other days of the week are free patterns too. Why is Free Pattern Friday so, and we were looking at the analytics, and Free Pattern Fridays are getting more hits.
Sure.
And it's like, but people don't realize that Mondays and Wednesdays
are free as well.
They're also free. So
yes. Yeah. But when you attach free, I think you're going to get hits from people typing in, like free sawtooth or free nosegay or whatever they're typing in. You're going to get that hit as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then, you're playing around with traditional blocks too. So
yes.
There's certain blocks that have been done to death. And we know, I have a couple, I had a lady ask me for this, and I was just like, oh, there's so many of them out there. And here's we go with a very, crazy sawtooth star. And it's just like, this one has been done so many times. It's like, but it is what it is, right? But then we also got to play with other little blocks too. Do you want to see them or?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to.
Okay. So we decided we would teach the 4 at a time flying geese, because people were asking for that too. And this is the block we came up with.
Okay.
So it's a little different, but it's a very
right. But when you set them, I can see where the pattern would emerge.
Yeah. So you set them, that way. And I decided, okay, let's do something not quite so traditional that everybody sees. But my youngest daughter, has a plant business. And she started out with cactuses and succulents, and now she's moved on to expand her business into Hoyas and herbs and tomatoes and stuff. This one is called Cactus Pot.
Very nice.
I'm not done with this yet. I'm going to put a little you know, the English paper piecing flowers, little hexy flowers
Yes.
here, you know, just to, in pinks, just to make,
jazz
you
it
know,
up a little.
yeah, just to make it, because I mean, the springtime, right? The desert's in bloom, right? So
now, is that an 8-inch? I can't tell what size that is.
yeah, that's an 8-inch.
Yeah.
And because of the efficiency in cutting, you make 2 at a time.
Well, very nice. So they're
You know,
made in
so
pairs.
you can play, yeah, because that was the way they did it back then too, right? So they figured out, okay, let's do the cutting so we can do 2 at a time, and that this pattern actually works better if you do it 2 at a time, right? So it's weird. And then we had a challenge.
Gonna say you got some tiny pieces there.
This is pine tree, and it's like, okay, so pine tree is one of these old traditional blocks where you had nothing but crumbs, and I literally went through my crumb bin for green to make this one and this one.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you dig through your crumb pile to make those triangles, or to sew those triangles together, do you starch or use sizing on your fabric before you piece?
I did these with foundation paper piecing, and I haven't taken off this one, but the paper.
Oh, I see.
And then that way, and the way I've numbered them, one row will go this way and the next row will go this way. So when you sew them all together, they will nest. They go actually into the perfect place where they're supposed to go, right? They will their seams will start to nest up, which also helps you putting it together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because I know when I sew crumbs, if they're on the bias, then I usually spray some sizing on there just so that it doesn't warp so much or just doesn't move from where I want it to be. But
what I do too when I've got like this is I will put like stay stitching around the edge, because you never know whether like once you're done
handling it.
You don't know whether it's a bias or not. So you just stay stitch around the seam inside the seam allowance, and then you pull the paper off and you're good. You know, and that way you're not stretching anything. But yeah, I do hear you with the bias. It's like, yeah, just give it a quick shot of starch and be done. And
I push that a lot because we're doing one quilt along, and I'll always say, if you ever have a problem with anything, you know, your point's not meeting or whatever, try putting starch or sizing on your fabric before using it, because it will help a beginner usually.
Well, yeah. And people too, when they're trying to make things line up, they'll pull.
Yes.
And if you're on a bias, that's bad.
Yeah, not good at all.
Yeah. Or if your feed dog, something's wrong with your top tension or your feed dogs, or, you know, something's not working the right way on your sewing machine. Yeah. Like, that I always tell people stay stitch, you know, because stay stitching too, like when you're doing foundation paper piecing and you're doing that outside stay stitching, go really small stitches. A stay stitch on a garment is kind of like a basting
big stitch,
like 8 to 12 stitches an inch, where, you know, stay stitching here is like anywhere from 25 to 30 stitches an inch. You want it small so the paper rips off. Right?
Yeah, because if you don't perforate the paper, it's not going to tear. So you need those tiny indentations.
So I wanted to ask you, what is your most watched video?
Actually, for someone who just does tutorials and tries to stay away from quilts, it's actually a quilt block. It's between 2 quilt blocks that I did before the quilt along. I did a crazy quilt tutorial. Crazy quilt block. I just took a 5-sided, you know, said let's cut a wonky 5-sided focus fabric, fussy cut something you like, and I'm going to show you how to go around it. That and the ladder block, which is not a Jacob's ladder block. I'm in a quilt swap group where we swap. If you sign up for Crazy Block, you're going to send 2 to your partner, and they're going to send 2 to you. There was a block called a ladder block, and the woman who runs the group saw it on Pinterest years ago, but there was no pattern. She just saw a picture of it, and she replicated it. So it's not my pattern. I attributed it from getting it from her, but I also said in my video, she saw it and just copied it and made measurements, and that is my number one. The ladder block is my number one video. And then other than those, It's, I go to say it. I apologize. It's left my head.
You keep going from the ladder block. One of the things with that ladder block, though, it does make a very graphic pattern. Like, and you've got places for all your seams to rest because the line goes up. There's a strip that you post on either side of the center, and then your seams have a place to nest. That's a very clever block, actually.
It is, but if you don't get that black, if you don't have a 12.5-inch ruler, you have to be very careful. Like if you're using a ruler like this, you have to be very careful using your 45-degree angle to get that matched up, because if that black line on each side is not matched up, then when you put your pieces together, if those black lines do not correspond, if there's one down even 1/8 of an inch, you know what's going to happen. It's just going to keep getting worse. But it's a beautiful quilt. And it was just something that I needed a tutorial one week, so I asked Cindy, because we've been doing it in the group, and I said, can I use it? And she said, absolutely. So
yeah, well, you know, it is a striking graphic, right? That
good scraps. You know, if people have a lot of strips left over from, you know, jelly rolls or just strips in general.
Yeah, I mean, I can, let's say my string bucket is within reach or just about in reach, and I can give you handfuls of strings of you know, things that you can use on there. You know, it's perfect little block. You know, play with, right? So it is great.
It is, and it's a good way to use up a lot of colorful. Of course, you don't even have to go with black. You could use gray, blue, red for whatever those are, but
kind of a cohesive. You want a cohesive color throughout the quilt.
Yes, whatever you choose.
No matter which one it is, it just has to be because it unifies them, right? So that's perfect.
It just pulls everything together.
With your quilt along, and there's a lot of people asking, what's your 12th block going to be?
I actually have not, I've got it down to 3 or 4. I think it's going to be a signature block. I just haven't decided which way, because I think everyone should sign their quilt. So I think it's a perfect ending.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get me to give away my secrets, Brenda. No, I'm teasing you.
No, I'm not. I've got a few secrets in my sleeve here too that we're going to be starting, and I'm not sure when we're going to be starting it, but we should start it soon. I have an orphan block challenge coming out to people. And what happens is I'm going to take all of my orphan blocks and pile them up and see exactly how many I have, because I have boxes and boxes.
How many do you think you have? How many quilts worth do you have, Brenda?
You know what? If they're all piled up on the table, I'm going to be surprised that they don't take over the table.
Wow.
I have a lot of, well, there's days, you know, and every sewer goes through this too. You probably go through this in your own way too. There's days you have stuff you need to work on, stuff you have to do, and you don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it.
So blocks.
Yeah. Just so just try something out, an idea or a pattern.
And there's nothing wrong with just coming in here and doing something simple that you can just, you know, get into your Zen moment and just I've been doing that for many years. Let's face it, every time I do a video, I create yet an orphan block, or maybe 2, you know, because that's the nature of the game here. So I've probably got, I don't know how many orphan blocks that I've created just because of this, right? This YouTube voyage or journey that I've been on, and it's all been fun, but I have amassed a lot of orphan blocks.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good teaching tool, showing everyone, you know, getting everyone to gather theirs.
And there's lots of different things that you need to know about working with orphan blocks too, right? Because it's not just, you know, put them down and sew them together. There's a lot of things you have, all the prep work you have to do first.
Sure.
That you need to explain to people. Otherwise, they're going to be, Yeah,
I understand that. I have some blocks. Of course, I've been in this quilt swap group for a while, but I have some blocks that are made by people who haven't been sewing as long or had as much experience. So maybe they used a longer stitch length than they should have, or their tension wasn't just right or something. And I thought, you know, they're beautiful blocks. They might not be exactly 12.5 inches, so they might not fit perfectly into a quilt, but I can make a tote bag from them, even if I have to put a border around it. And, you know, quilting it down, whether you use free motion quilting or matchstick quilting, and then all those loose stitches aren't going to matter in the least.
No, they're not. No, actually, they're not. By the time you know, if you're quilting it to death for a tote bag or a pillow, yeah, it's not going to matter that it's too loose.
Because the quilting ends up making the fabric wonky anyway, which
yes,
this bag is a perfect example. This zipper is straight with the top, okay?
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it is not exactly straight with the up and down of this, because the quilting, as I went, I flipped the fabric and then I quilt it. Okay,
yeah.
So as I did that, these strips aren't exactly straight, even though they look it. Until you get that zipper on there, you don't know. And now I can see that that pink underneath or over top that zipper is a little bit off. But to me, that's the beauty of the bag. It doesn't have to be perfect. The zipper is straight, but the bag isn't.
But it looks great, really.
Yeah. But
you know,
quilting,
you can get around that too, just by putting the zipper on at an angle and making an inset pocket this way.
Well, I could have, and I thought about putting the side, you know, the up, down, and putting it to the side. Yeah, there's a lot of ways around it, but I kind of just went with that same formula. That same formula.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what we both have coming up on our channels here next
I know, and it's kind of hard because I've cut back to doing tutorials every other week now.
Yeah.
But I have all these ideas. But realistically, Brenda, I couldn't keep up with it because I do everything. I do my filming, my editing, I do all that. And, you know, you've got regular everyday life in there. And then when you have health problems on top of it. So, yeah, I do a weekly What's Up Wednesday where I just live stream so I don't have to edit anything.
And sometimes those live streams, yeah, you can still teach a lot in a live stream.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I know myself, I mean, my husband does all the editing and camera work and the filming angles and all that. And we just switched our filming angles not that long ago so that we could, you know, people would hopefully get a better view of what was happening when we're sewing.
Sure.
And yeah, it's working and struggling with that, trying to make your videos better. You know, that
yeah, my biggest thing is putting that tripod in front of the sewing machine and then trying to work around it, because I've got the angled down so that they can see the sewing machine. And then I got my brand new sewing machine. I don't know if you knew, I got a brand new semi-industrial. Yeah. Okay. And so I can't even film with it because I put an Ethernet cable into this laptop and it will not come out. No pliers will squeeze that. It will not come out. It's brand new Ethernet cable and it is stuck. So I am stuck within the realm of where this wire is going. I can't get it out of the laptop.
Yesterday we were filming with Les's new, and so the pole is behind me and it's over my shoulder looking down on.
Oh, perfect.
Right? In order to make that work, he had to put some weights on the far end of the pole, right? So that I
had one of those, but I know what you mean.
It would sit at the right thing. Well, he took the weight off at the end of our filming and just about catapulted the camera and the ring light right across the room. It was like, oh, that's not good.
I was going to say that's like a seesaw. You just cannot do that.
Well, you know, those old, you know, those catapults that they would throw tar and, you know, tar balls on fire into the castle. Well, that's, pretty much what happened to our camera.
Yeah.
It saved it. It didn't break, but I laughed so hard. I was laughing. I was trying not to laugh because he was like, oh my God, you're okay. I was like, you know, and he's there putting the camera back up and it was just like, don't laugh. He was really afraid.
That was hilarious. I love that. It keeps things exciting.
Yes, it keeps him on his toes. Yeah, catching the camera as it's catapulted across the room.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll like me telling him that, but you're saying that.
Well, it's done now. it's done now, right?
No.
We haven't done a lot of sewing. I thought I don't mind chatting. I love chatting with you, Brenda. And I thought I've got to get ready for today. I've got to have something to sew. And I didn't really have anything handy, but it's fun just chatting with you.
I have the light on in my sewing machine, so I've touched it today.
Mine's on too. Does that count?
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I know. And what was the other thing I was gonna? The UFOs. I was told by a very wonderful, wise quilter that you only ever have to admit to your UFOs as to what number you are comfortable with admitting.
That's good advice.
Yeah, so if you're only comfortable at admitting at 30 UFOs, that's what you keep admitting to. And it doesn't matter how high that pile comes.
You can still say 30? I'm going to go with this. I like this.
Or you can say 15 if 30 is too big for you and it's causing you stress. Just lie. It's like, it's like lying about your age, right? And it's like, and she would say, well, think about it. If I was 90, you'd think I was looking great. And yeah, true enough. Why go big? Like with your age, when you're lying about go big, people think,
why not, right? I love that. Yeah, I'm going to use that. I bought some fabric. I never go to Joanne Fabric, like ever. But I did. I finally bought something from them online. I only have one of it right handy to show you, but
okay.
It has paper on the back. It's Aerosmith fabric.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
I have, so I got the Aerosmith wings, and then I have some that I got on Etsy, and it's got the band from like in the 80s. Like, I mean, yeah, they were some years into it, and then I made myself a bag out of it. Anyway, I kind of fussy cut on one side. And then this was the other fabric. So I took all three fabrics and just kind of made like what looked like decals.
Oh, very cool.
So I'll be making myself a tote bag out of Aerosmith fabric though pretty soon.
It was funny the other day, one of the Aerosmith tunes was rolling through my head in the morning when I get up, and it's like, oh.
That happens to me. I had a song, one of their songs going through my head. I had heard it the other day, and what's it called? An earworm. For 2 days, all I heard was fever.
Mine was pink.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Yeah, no. It's like, oh no, make it stop.
Yeah, it happened to me a few weeks ago with Jaded. It's always one of their songs, and it seems to just get in there and just keep going and going. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I tell my age, but I've been a fan of theirs since 75. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Way back when. I saw them in the mid 80s. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I did. Yeah. It was a good concert in ways, and it was a bad concert in other ways, so I won't get into all that, but they've cleaned up their act very well, and they're very talented people regardless of anything else. At least I think so. But anyway, yeah.
They are. I mean, they're talented musicians, and they're actually pretty long-lived.
Oh, my land, yes. They've been going since 71. 52 years.
That tells you a lot, that they had a vision and they kept moving forward with that vision, and they may have had to reinvent themselves a few times, but
yeah, and they did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And they
I think we all
Yeah.
Good life lesson for all of us, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Gather those quote blocks, reinvent them.
Reinvent them, have some fun with them. Yeah, just play around, that's what I do here all day long, is I just play around in here. So it's like fun.
Yeah, but you get so much done, Brenda.
But
like you really do. You get a lot done.
But I'm retired, right? So I mean, I get up in the morning, I have coffee, I do my Facebook and, reply to YouTube, and then I can come in here and start sewing, right? And then I don't have to leave here until it's supper time, so. Yeah, and people don't grasp that. They're sitting there, well, how can you get so much done? Well, this is kind of what I do now, right? Yeah. I'm retired and I make charity quilts.
Yeah. See, I don't get a lot of sewing time. Really, I don't. I guess I'm not good with time management, but I have to cook breakfast, lunch, and supper. And we're doing keto because we're both diabetics now. So we're doing keto. And I find that meals that I used to prep ahead of time and we just heat and eat, I'm not finding that as easy on a low carb diet. I'm cooking more often.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate it when real life gets in the way of sewing, but yet it just keeps happening, Brenda. You figure that out now.
I know my time management skills retired when I did. And they were like, yeah, you're never going to have to look at a watch again. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
But realistically, I can't sit and sew like I used to because of pain. I can usually if I can get 2 hours all crammed in one day, I can do that maybe 3 days a week. I can't sew every day. I can come in here, I can cut fabric, or I can look at things and think about things, but realistically, Brenda, I can't sew like that anymore.
Yeah,
I can't take the vibration of the machine.
Yeah, I find it soothing to sit and sew, right? Soothing for my soul, but yeah, the fibromyalgia and the arthritis, it takes its toll. That's why I start my morning under a heating pad, and I end my sewing day under a heating pad.
Yeah.
And my husband got me one of those sewing pads that goes all the way down the back, and then around the neck and around my shoulders.
Yeah, I have a soft heat one that comes around here. It kind of looks like a T. It goes all the way down my back, and then it comes around here.
Yeah, it kind of mine is. I call it my princess cape.
Oh, right? There you go.
And it's at the right temperature for me, and I I stay. Once I start getting tight, then I'm okay. We go sit under the heating pad for a while.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever works. What's that song? Whatever gets you through it's not the night, but the day. Yeah.
Whatever gets you through the day. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so sure. I guess we should get something done here today. So in order for us to do that, we should say goodbye and let the other.
We probably should. They probably have stuff they're going to get done too. But I appreciate them
sewing while we've been talking.
Yeah, they probably have gotten way more done than we have. But we've discussed all these things just to keep them entertained while they sewed.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Anyways, Marie, I hope you have an absolutely fabulous day. And anybody who's watching this, we're sending hugs and well wishes and everything to you. We're hoping you win Bob and Chicken.
Yes. Oh, yes. Bob and Chicken, the favorite game.
An entire month without winning Bob and Chicken once.
Yeah, I lost yesterday while quilting a line. And my seam ripper's broken, Brenda. It did. I had to order a new part. My friend Nanny B sent me this from Australia. I don't know if you can tell, but it fell and broke the tip.
Oh no.
So I went on Amazon, and if it fits, it's going to be in on Friday, and I hope it fits. But it's got the stiletto in one end and the seam ripper in the other. So I'm back to my old one that isn't sharp. It's a clover, and I think it's a dud because it's always been dull. But anyway, thank you for having me on. It's always great to visit with you, Brenda.
Yeah, we should maybe do this more often.
We really should. We really should. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I do.
You take care. Bye.
Yeah, take care, everyone.